Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how you can create a fire rain in Blender, so let's get started. First hit Shift A and add a plane. Move it up like this and add a camera. Go to front view and press Ctrl Alt 0 to go into camera view. Now select the plane and scale it up. Make sure it's not visible in the view of the camera. Now let's scale it a little on the X, like this. Hit Shift A, add an icosphere and set the subdivisions to 3. Now press Ctrl 1. Now shade smooth and hide the icosphere in the view and the render. If you don't see this option here, you can go up here and enable it. Select the plane and go to the particle properties. Click on the plus sign. Set the number to 500 and the end frame to 250. Let's also set the lifetime to 30. I'm changing the lifetime so that the particles disappear shortly after they are out of the view of the camera. This is going to reduce the baking time for the simulation. Under the object aligned X, set it to minus 0.75 so that the particles go slightly in this direction, as you can see now. Now enable rotation and set the randomize phase to 2. Go to render and set it to object and select the icosphere. Set the scale randomness to 0.5. Go to cache and bake it. Go to the physics properties and select fluid. Set it to flow and fire and smoke. Set the flow behavior to inflow. And under flow source, select the particle system and select this particle system. Set the size to 2. This is going to control the radius of the fire. Now hit Shift A and add a cube and scale it up like this so that it covers the entire plane. Now select fluid again and select domain. Set the resolution divisions to 128. One thing that I forgot to do for the plane is to set the sampling substeps to 5. This is important to do when the object is moving. Now select the cube again and let's go down here to dissolve and enable it and enable noise. Let's also enable adaptive domain. Go back to frame 1 and play the animation. Now we've got something like this. Under cache, set the type to modular or all. I'm going to use all. If you set it to modular, you're going to have to bake this and the noise separately. Let's also enable is resumable. Now click on bake. If you are cancelling the simulation because you want to change something, for example, and can't see the fire, that is because you need to go back to replay and clear the cache for some reason. Once it's done baking, go to shading and select the icosphere. Go to rendered view and make sure it's set to cycles. Now go to the color in the world properties and set it to sky texture. Set air dust and ozone to 3 and the sun elevation to 5 and sun rotation to 45. Now let's bring back the icosphere in the viewport and click on new. Add a color ramp. Plug the color into the base color and into the emission. Hold Shift and right click drag over here. Add a mix RGB. Plug the color into the factor and let's set this to an orange color like this. And this one to a lighter orange. Now we need a mask wave texture. Plug the height into the factor. Select the white and bring it in to somewhere around here. Select the domain and click on new again. Delete the principled BSDF and add a principled volume. And Ctrl Shift click on it. Now let's press play so we can see it. Set the density to 5 and add a math node. Set it to multiply and set the bottom value to 2.5. Plug the value into the emission strength, add a color ramp and plug the color into the top value. Bring the black into somewhere around 0.3. Add an attribute node and let's set the name to heat. Add an attribute node and let's set the name to heat. Plug the factor into the factor and duplicate the color ramp. Again, let's use the factor. Plug the color into the emission color and bring the black into somewhere around here, the white here, and click on the plus sign here. Bring this here. I'm going to make the black orange like this, for example. This one I'm going to make yellow, and this one is gonna get a more dark yellow like this. Now let's save, go to the render properties and set the max samples to 128 times 3. If you can, then I recommend that you use motion blur. Just be careful with that because it will increase the rendering time and the GPU usage. When I ran the test render, it used about 6.3 GB with motion blur on, and with motion blur off it used about 3 to 4 GB. I'm going to enable it and set the shutter to 0.25. The higher you set the shutter, the longer it will take to render, but it doesn't seem to increase the GPU usage for some reason. Enable denoise. I recommend that you use optics if you can. Let's also go to film and make it transparent, and go to the color management, set the view transform to filmic and the look to very high contrast. One thing that I almost forgot to do is to select the plane, go to the particle properties and go to render and disable show emitter. We obviously can't see the plane anyway, but I'm not sure if it will affect the lighting because as you can see it's reflecting. So just to be safe I disabled it. Let's hide the icosphere again and go to the output properties. I'm going to use JPEG, but you can of course use PNG if you want to. Set the quality to 100%. Now let's create a new output folder. I already did that, so I'm going to paste it in here. Let's call the images rendered images. If you put an underscore after the name, Blender is going to automatically assign numbers to the frames. Click on accept. Select viewport shading and go to compositing. Enable denoising data and use nodes. Add a denoise node set to accurate and use the image and denoising normal and denoising albedo. Now save again and press Ctrl F12 to render the images. Once it's done rendering, go to video editing and hover over the file location here and press Ctrl C. Make sure you are on frame 1, hit Shift A, image sequence and paste in the location minus the name of the images. Now that it's done rendering, go to video editing. Go to the output properties, press Ctrl C while hovering over the file location, and make sure you are on frame 1. Now hit Shift A, image sequence, and paste in the location minus the name of the images. Make sure to sort the images by name, press A and enter. Now go to the file format and set it to FFmpeg video. Go to encoding, set it to MPEG-4 and the output quality to high quality. Now let's save again and go to render and render animation. So that's it with the tutorial. I hope you liked it. Please let me know what I should do next and I'll see you next time.